me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll Weekend edition with SouthSide Riley on October 21st, 2023. Just 10 days left in October. Trick or treat. Next Wednesday, I think, we will be turning the page in the calendar. And, of course, one of my favorite days, of course, because NCAA basketball is back on the docket. So renew your Ken Pomeroy subscriptions, the best $20, $25 you'll ever spend. With all your other college basketball sources, of course, get ready to go run to wherever you get your books, I guess, Street and Smith and whatever. Start doing your homework there. Shout out to the WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please go to Google Play and wherever else you download apps. Zach, Travis, and the rest of the team, an amazing group going places, and you should be a part of it, where you're able to, on the app, keep track of all your wagers, to track your ROI, to sync your wagers with dozens and dozens of sports books, and actually look into the promos. They got a whole list of sports books offering promos for free wagers, deposit matches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And also an affiliate program. Send an email to affiliates at wagerwire.com. Travis and Zach and the rest of the team will take good care of you there. Tell them Jeff Dawson, JD, whatever you want to call me today. Just don't call me late for breakfast, of course. From ECSI sent you, and they'll do the rest. So without further ado, let's bring in the co-star of this show, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Good morning, sir. How art thou?
Good morning, my friend. Happy Saturday. Happy, I want to say college football Saturday, but there's more than just college football to talk about today. So happy, beautiful sports day Saturday. We've got a heck of a slate to talk about here today, my friend. So I'm excited. And as you're talking, it's hard not to be excited because you and I both love it so much and have quite a bit of success and fun throughout the college basketball season. And I had to bring my Big Ten action to geared to the show, but it is a little bit of a Illinois basketball logo there. So I am getting into the season here a little early, but it's hard not to look ahead even with what we've got going on today, because it is a heck of a slate. So I don't want to overshadow what we've got going on today, but as the days get closer, I mean, maybe not as much of a watchability. I do enjoy watching the NBA and talking about the NBA. Nothing like watching college basketball throughout the week, all through the entire season. So aside from that, got heck of a slate of college football, got one baseball game, and then, don't have a ton of thoughts, but we've got a big UFC card that, if you were not aware, is actually the prelims are going on right now. So better if you had some thoughts early in the week and you thought you had until, midnight tonight, 10 p.m., whatever. It's I think the main card's starting in a few hours here. during the day, little afternoon fight action, and if you're looking for the prelims, it's morning fight action. So aside from that, I am ready to rock and roll, my friend. We've obviously got one of the, as far as the Big Ten slate goes, one of the 3 biggest games of the year right now here today in less than an hour now. So I'm juiced for it. This is one of the ones I've been looking forward to all season long, not to mention obviously a handful of other good college football games. So I am ready to rock and roll, my friend.
Just an FYI, we're getting monsooned here on the Cape. It's literally the 10th rainy weekend we have had in the last 11, expecting 2 to 3 inches of rain. So if this broadcast is a little choppy, apologies. It's all on my end here. So I'm going to start there. Yeah, it's a big slate. I think what the easiest thing for us to do is just to navigate, pick and choose. Obviously, we're not going to go through all the games, some that catch your eye, some that catch my eye. Just wanted to go back to last night. You know, a lot of people in our lanes and just in society, you remember what we saw last. And I go back just a handful of days ago, the Phillies up 2-0. That stadium is electric. There's nothing else you can say. It's like going into back in the day, the gladiator rings or the bullfights. I mean, it just must feel you. And the Phillies dominate the first 2 games, and now the thought process is, will they come back to Philadelphia for a game 6 or 7? Or are we getting our World Series, tickets ready, like last year? And hats off to the D-backs. They kind of muscle through game 3 and steal one, literally, to get it to 2-1. And then last night's game again, back and forth. Phillies get out. D-backs try to rally, and then Phillies take the lead. And then in comes Craig Kimbrell. And as I said to you, on the American League side, whenever Chapman comes in, if I'm the opposing team, just from a professional standpoint for myself, I feel comfortable when Chapman comes in. I don't care if he's throwing 101, 102 and sweating like he just ran the Boston Marathon. I know sooner or later he's going to wear down. And in comes Kimbrell last night, and it's like, to me, it's like a breath of fresh air if I'm the Diamondbacks, because, hey, you take it from someone that had him in Boston, you know what potentially is behind this. And the resiliency of this Diamondback team, the youth, the 23-year-olds, take it, 2-run homer, and then muscle one through in the 8th, hold on 6-5, now 2-2. Phillies minus 180, Arizona plus 155. That's the series prices. We got a series, Riley.
We got two heck of a series after these last couple of days here. No, these last 2 games, at least in that series, have been so electric. And like you said, and now after we were talking when it was 2-0, it's like, well, man, not only, obviously you had what you had in Philly, but not only that, but the Diamondbacks just went through their top 2 pitchers, and now they got to muscle through, like you said, 3 and 4 without them. And now you get back, and you got Gallen here for Game 5 tonight, and imagine Merrill Kelly for Game 6. Back in Philly, regardless of what happens tonight. So, you kind of feel good about it going 7 games, for God's sake, at the very least. I mean, obviously, the Diamondbacks, as you said, got to go into Philly and get one regardless. And obviously, if they lose, they got to get 2. But if they can manage one tonight, you got 2 chances to get 1. And obviously, that's a tough task going into Philly. But you feel pretty decent about it going 7 games. Obviously, if the Phillies win tonight, then maybe you're feeling a little differently. But out of 4 chances with Gallen and Merrill Kelly, you got to feel like they're at least going to get one of them. But obviously, maybe we're talking differently in a couple days. But you feel decent about it going 7 games, do you not?
Yeah, and the amazing thing about baseball, Riley, the National League, the home team has won every game. In the American League, the road team has won every game. And now we'll go over to last night's game. A game where the numbers said it was going to go under, a pitching battle back and forth, and then Astros take the lead, and then I'm drawing a brain fart, 2-run homer. Why am I drawing a brain fart? Garcia, was it Garcia? For the
Texas?
Rangers that hit the 2-run homer. Then next time it back up plunked. Yes. So he gets plunked. And listen, do you remember when you're playing baseball and you're in the field and you make an error? And then you're just saying to yourself, please, Lord, oh, please, Lord, don't have the ball come back to me the next play. And it automatically comes back to you on the next play. Well, certain people just happen to get up in certain spots. For the Red Sox back in the day, David Ortiz always seemed to get up in that magical spot. Last night, here it is, Altuve. And you're just saying to yourself, this is an Astros team that has been to the ALCS 7 straight years, right? And now you got first and second on no outs, down 2, and anyone but Altuve, and then the little engine that could, I think, got over the fence, hits a homer by about 3 feet.
And if you're watching it as someone who, obviously there's a lot of people that don't like this Astros team and are sick of it, you're dreading whenever you see Altuve coming up, and then it almost pisses you off that he acts as if it's a walk in the park for him. That he shows almost no emotion as he just hits. Certainly not the biggest home run of his career, obviously, but anyone else is. Most people in baseball, that's the biggest home run they're going to hit in their life, and he's just, that's what I do. And if you're an Astros hater, that probably pisses you off as much. You'd like him to show a little emotion, for goodness sake. But no, it's tough to climb out of that 3-2 hole now because, like you said, the road team has won every game in that series, but something's got to give, for goodness sake, there. So, I feel decent about this one. A couple good games coming down the pipe, but you're telling me you got to take down the Astros 2 games in a row in Houston in the ALCS. Obviously, that hasn't gone well for a lot of teams the last 7 years. Obviously, there's been some teams that have been able to get through them, but the odds favor Houston for the most part there.
If memory serves me correct, the year the Nationals won the World Series, I think the road team won every game in that series as well. So to all the ECSI VIP people, we gave out the Astros plus 165 in the series after they lost game 1. Now, of course, after they lost game 2, I look like a schmuck here. But game 3 and game 4, we had the Astros team total over, which we got there. And now I want to say, and I don't want to be misquoted here, so I'm just going to go to the exact number. Give me 1 second here, Riley. I sent it out on the alert. Of course, I got to go back here. Baseball series prices. The Astros are now minus 435. You can get the Rangers at plus 350. Great matchup tomorrow, Valdez versus Evaldi. My point is this: I got plus 165 already in the boot on the Astros. Listen, do I think the Astros are going to win this series? Well, obviously I feel good. Do I feel great? No. I mean, you got the Bulldog Evaldi pitching on Sunday. Right. We know what he can do. So my point is if you're going to give me the Rangers plus 350, I already got 165 in the boot. Go get your plus 150. Go get your guaranteed money, guys. Don't be a hero here. Even if you put a half unit on the Rangers, you're getting plus 175 on the Rangers at this point. So if the Astros win, you collect the 165. If the Rangers win, you're collecting 175. So my point is you're netting a unit at least. So again, it's all up to you guys are the bosses, but you can't listen. Baseball is one of those sports, Riley. We're trying to engage the Gen Z and the millennials. The game's too long, yada, yada, yada. But if you just turn it on for a minute and just hear the crowd and you're not feasting on some of these plays, the bench clearing brawl. Now, I'll be honest with you. And I respect the, I think it was Smoltzy there, and social media, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Of course, everyone has their opinion. Listen, I grew up with Roger Clemens. I grew up with Pedro Martinez. Now, I know Pedro would have hit you in the ass. There is no doubt about that. Roger Clemens had a way of hitting you right in that rib cage. You were like a deer in a headlight. They can say whatever they want. He was intending to hit him on that pitch, in my eyes.
Yeah, shoot, I'm not disputing that at all. And like you said, it's not the same as what it used to be, but sometimes it is. And like you said, I think it is kind of that situation there. So last day, I mean, if it goes to Game 7, obviously, like you said, Game 6 pitching matchup is fantastic. If it goes to Game 7, are we expecting Scherzer for Texas?
Let me bring up the memory bank here. Evaldi pitched Game 1. Who pitched Game 2? Max went Game 3.
Who was Game 2? I think it was Montgomery who pitched. He pitched again.
Montgomery
already,
pitched last.
Or Evaldi pitched Game 2 actually.
Who pitched Game 1? Who we missing?
Game 1 was Montgomery.
Yeah, Evaldi, Max.
So Max was Game 3, yeah. And then, because Montgomery just pitched, right?
Yeah, he pitched. And by the way, you can mark this one down. The Red Sox are hot and horny for the kid in Japan. There are a couple big names on the free agent market. You can mark this down, Riley. Mark it down. 11/17 on October 21st. Jordan Montgomery will be a Red Sox. I guarantee you he'll be a Red Sox.
Yeah. No, that sounds about right. And hey, it's come full circle from, I think we said it the other day, come full circle from the entire world fading him when he was in St. Louis, 0-11 or, 11 straight losses or whatever. The guy's looking good and has looked good and obviously has made some worth for himself. So he'll get a nice paycheck, going over there. I'm not going to dispute that one at all.
Before we dive into the College Board, obviously the headliner at noon in your neck of the woods, meaning Big Ten country, do you have any thoughts for anyone watching and listening on the UFC today?
Yeah, let's minor thoughts. It is kind of a tough one to get into in a lot of ways. I mean, the shortest or the tightest odds on the entire card, unless maybe the opening fight was. I forgot what the opening fight odds were, and we've already got 2 in the tank already. The shortest favorite is -180. So there is a ton of huge favorites on this betting card here. And so obviously that makes it tough. I'm not a huge person in trying to get into fight props. So if you are, then you kind of that's kind of the way you have to go, as certain fighter to win by decision or knockout whatsoever, or what have you there. So it is tough. And you've got as far as the 3 main fights there, you've got 3 guys. The 3 favorites are stone cold killers, and you've got 2 guys who are some all-time fighters in the top 2 fights here: Usman and against Chimaev, and then Volkanovski against Makhachev, who are fairly decent-sized underdogs, who are 2 of the best fighters of all time. So on one hand, it's both those guys could be in for a big bounce back and probably are extremely motivated because they're still, it's not like they've lost a huge step. It's that these 2 guys that they're fighting are just stone cold killers. So I'm not saying rush to the window on these underdogs necessarily. But at least out of these top 3 fights here, Ankalaev and Johnny Walker being the third one there, I think one of these underdogs has a chance to win there. And at least looking at that one, like Johnny Walker, for example, Ankalaev is by easily the best fighter between the 2 fighters there against Walker there, and the odds are fair. But Johnny Walker's got some knockout power. That's the one guy where you could be watching that fight for 12 of the 15 minutes there, and then out of nowhere Johnny Walker lands a nasty kick and Ankalaev goes down to the mat. So that one's a little kind of, you have to be aware a little bit there. And then as far as those other 2, it's another one where Usman, up until the last minute of that first Leon Edwards fight, Kamaru Usman was the king of the world, and then obviously had the out of nowhere headshot from Edwards, and then Edwards kind of just controlled the fight the last time out. So I'm not sitting here saying Usman is gonna surprise people necessarily, but you're probably gonna give a very motivated Kamaru Usman. Problem is that Chimaev is just a terrified human being. So it's one where there's a path to where I could see. I think Usman has a better chance than honestly Volkanovski beating Makhachev. You're going to have to see a knockout from either Usman or Volkanovski, in my opinion, to win those fights, because Chimaev and Makhachev just know how to control these fights. They know how to win these fights. I don't see them getting behind and kind of getting desperate. I think it's going to be the other way around, which at the end of the day, that that might be the recipe and how one of those two underdogs wins there. So I think out of those main three fights, there's a chance you're going to see an underdog win, because otherwise, people are going to be piling up these favorite parlays and piling them up, and at some point there's going to be someone that's going down. So it is tough, and if you're someone who has some better luck with certain fight props necessarily, I'm not a big round prop guy. But you kind of have to get a little creative here to get into some of these fights here. Speaking of the one, I do have a little action. The one guy that I mentioned, Trevor Peek, is the shortest favorite here, minus 180. I've got a little action on his opponent there, plus 155. I think Yahya is how you pronounce it, Muhammad Yahya. So that one underdog feels just a little undervalued. But aside from that, it is pretty tough to get into these fights. And unless you really believe in one of these underdogs, you got to get creative in how you're picking some of these favorites to win these fights here.
I thought I saw early in the week a tweet on Usman where the true number literally was a pick 'em, and as soon as they put it out, all the money came on the other side. What is the current numbers on that fight?
I'm seeing Chimaev is minus 370, and Usman is plus 290 right now. So I think
I remember
like
Chimaev's first.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I remember Chimaev, his first fight, and I looked at him, and he just had that look, and I think it was like minus a bazillion. They already knew what was coming, and just watching his fights, and again, if you're looking for that 30-second knockout or just an assassin, he's just a true professional. And you walk into the ring, and you're in for a war. He's gonna grapple you to death. He's gonna, once he gets on top of you, it's just, how do you beat him? I don't know. I don't know, unless you come in with a couple sledgehammers in both hands. I don't know how you beat
No, I really don't either, and it would have to be an otherworldly. I mean, the best performance of Usman's career, and maybe Chimaev doesn't quite look his best or something along those lines. Because look, like I said, Usman is one of the greatest fighters of this division of all time, and unless Chimaev goes on a run, he probably might be the standing, all-time great fighter in this division right now, which is crazy. And he's 36, so he's getting up there, but. And I honestly, I think the second Leon Edwards fight, because that's his two fights is the two Leon Edwards fights. I assume he probably underestimated Leon Edwards the second time around, because the first time around I don't know, he essentially dominated him for, I don't remember how long. I can't remember if it was I think it was a 5-round fight. So I think he dominated for 4.5 rounds, and then Edwards, half days lands the knockout there. So he kind of plays with his food a little bit second time around and gets beat, and Edwards looks great. So I have to imagine he's going to come back with a lot of fight and a lot of force here. But like you said, unless you've got an extra weapon on you, I don't know how you beat this man Chimaev here. So like I said, I think one of these three underdogs there in the top three, it wouldn't shock me if we got chalk and we got three favorites winning easy, and it's three outstanding performances. Because the thing you're saying about Chimaev, I kind of apply those to the other two guys that we're talking about here. Makhachev is as terrifying as they come too, but obviously Volkanovski is a long-standing champ as well, and he's got a lot of firepower there. So I guess I'll stay on record and say one of these three underdogs wins it, but I'm not going to try and pinpoint one of the three there for sure here.
We had Bill Krakenberg on SportsMap Radio on Thursday, and he was giving us the Dana White story. He was talking about Dana White about 6 weeks ago. I think it was right around 6-7 weeks ago when the UFC was in Boston. I'm assuming he went from the Garden over to Encore, which is about 15-20 minutes away, and started playing. Dana, a big blackjack, and I don't know if it's blackjack and craps or a big blackjack player. He goes, his streak of luck started in Boston. So Krakenberg was with them, I'm assuming in Vegas or Atlantic City last weekend or the weekend before, and just in awe of Dana White, where Dana White handed out $80,000, and it was like to to the dealers. It was to anyone and everyone, and 5,000 here, 3,000 here, 10,000 here, and he hands Billy $1,000, and Billy steps away. He goes, "I don't want your money. I don't. No, Dana, I'm all set." And Dana looked him straight in the eye. He goes, "No, it's good luck. Please take it." And the truth about this story was Dana White was down about 800 large while he's handing out $80,000, and just an amazing part. And then as we were wrapping up the spot with Crack, he goes, "Oh, by the way, Dana made a rally and actually won money that night," was just an amazing story there. But what he has done with the UFC is just, he's literally knocked out boxing. Every weekend or every other weekend, you're getting some great matches in the UFC, and boxing, just with their crookedness, the evil people collecting money on every which way but loose. There's no Mike Tyson, no Muhammad Ali, no Sugar Ray Leonard. There's only a handful of names, and HBO pulled the plug, and now Showtime last week pulled the plug. They're all done at the end of the year. So hats off to Dana. My little UFC brief there. Switch to football. Let's go right to it. Penn State and Ohio State. I'm going to tell everyone watching and listening, I've gone back and forth on this game. I do want to tell everyone this. The true number on this game was Ohio State -6. It wasn't 4.5, and you're seeing it move to 3.5 or 3. Okay, the true number was Ohio State -6 with a 47. So Vegas is telling me the final score of this game initially was 27-20. Now, whatever everyone wants to do with it, last week I told everyone the game of the night was the day was Washington and Oregon, and it lived up to this. I think at high noon, the game of the day is right here in Ohio State. Currently, we'll use the circa 4 and 46.5. I talk about the popsicle headache, Riley. I mean, theoretically, Ohio State wins this week. Penn State wins in 2 weeks at home against Michigan, and then Michigan beats Ohio State. So all three hold hands, sing kumbaya with one loss. So thoughts, the board is yours. Give us your thoughts on Penn State, Ohio State.
Yeah, and just to piggy, I want to say I need to double check my or what I saw there. If that does happen, I think I saw that Penn State is in a bad spot for that. I think I don't remember if it was strength of schedule or something along those lines, but I think if that were to happen, I don't think it would favor Penn State as far as getting into the Big Ten championship game. I don't remember who, and then obviously maybe the winner of the Ohio State Michigan game, if that does line up like that, I think is what would tie break it there. But anyways, no, I told you, like you said, this number has been moving around. Money on this one is obviously flying all over the place. This is the most anticipated game of the day. I think it's going to live up to it as well. Like you said, certainly is the most anticipated of the day and one of the 5 most anticipated games of the entire season, let alone Big Ten, I would imagine here. So I told you, I mean, the thing that's kind of making this one tough for me is sometimes trying to avoid bias of such a strong opinion that I had in the offseason or something like that, which is what I got here in this Penn State case. Because I, at the very least, my most optimistic sense was, Penn State cheating the entire season, whatnot. But, the less optimistic and, what I ended up going with is what you said, is all three of these teams beating up each other, and they all have one loss here. And so, nonetheless, I guess I don't have a strong sense that Penn State is going to win this game, but I do, like you said, I think it's going to be a really, really good game. I think I had my in my head earlier in the season was Penn State winning this game, losing to Michigan, and then Ohio State beating Michigan in that last one. So maybe I'm wavering on that a little bit, but nonetheless, Penn State has played Ohio State. Penn State is built to beat Ohio State more than it's built to beat Michigan, in my opinion. Ohio State's offense has looked better the last 6 quarters after that 17-14 Notre Dame game. I still I've been pretty low on Purdue, so they did what they should have done, in my opinion, against that Purdue game. So I am still leaning towards Penn State keeping this one close. As we talk about with team totals, though, I would have felt a little better if Penn State was 21.5 on their team total as opposed to that 20.5 there. Would have felt a little better that Penn State was going to put up some more points there. But like you said, that projection is whatever. I already blanked what you said, 26, 20, 27, 20, whatever you said there. So I like Penn State to hang in there. I'm going to stick with my initial thought and still thinking that Penn State is that good here. And the problem, though, is that they haven't really seen anybody. I was more impressed than a lot of people were. The 31-0 performance against Iowa. Obviously, Iowa's Iowa, and maybe not necessarily the goose egg because Iowa's offense can obviously be shut down regardless of who's playing quarterback. But the 31 points against that really, really good Iowa defense, in my opinion, was nothing to shake a stick at. You have the first half letdown against Northwestern, and then they wake up there, and then they get their – get the kick, out of UMass last week. So I like Penn State to take care of business here, and I got them. I got a little bit of money line action on them here. I think they win this game. I am not sold on this Ohio State offense necessarily against the legitimate defense here. So I will say 20-17 Penn State is where I'm going with this one.
No, and I like I said, I've been back and forth all week on this one. I'm going to stay away. I'll grab my pom-poms and popcorn. I am rooting for Penn State here. I would love Penn State to win. And then for 2 weeks now, get ready for Michigan, Penn State there at Penn State, Happy Valley. I, too, am a little leery of this Ohio State team. And again, once you get leery on certain teams, they usually show your best game. I'm not a trends guy. I'm not, I watch them, I read them, whatever you want to say. I know James Franklin in this spot. Big games on the road is just putrid. He is perfect on covering this year, and he actually has twice this year could have just ran out the clock and made sure that they covered. So it's kind of comical there. It will be real interesting if they were down. Let's just say they were down 8 or 9. I mean, the number is dipped, so it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
But down 10 late, and then he gets that touchdown, and then it's sitting right on the number, and for no reason went for 2 or something stupid. So it will be comedy there. But what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to give you the 10-yard button hook here and let you take over and just go over some games. We'll go back and forth here.
All righty, let's see. We can do a lot. There's a couple Big Ten games to talk about here, but we can skip around a little bit here. Any other ones at that noon kickoff time? I know Baylor, Cincinnati, not as good as it could have been preseason. Both teams 2-4. We don't need to talk too much about that one. Oklahoma, after a bye week's got UCF now. I see 17.5, I think, with a pretty high total there. Any thought that Oklahoma is going to play with their food a little bit, or you think they lay the hammer down and take care of business after the bye week there?
Well, if you got your email and your VIPs, actually, good eyes, we're on a piece of this here. This just from a numbers standpoint alone, Oklahoma sitting in the catbird seat, obviously, after beating Texas. Now, your initial thought here, let me pull down the screen here and get a here. And, of course, it's sleeping. Here we go. Tough getting older, Riley. Tough get the eyes start to go on you. Yeah, I can't even find it now. Hold on 1 second. I got to be blind here today. Oklahoma, where are we on the sheet? There we are. My true number was 18.5 with a 65. It's up to 17 with a 67.5. UCF can't stop a nosebleed. And again, the way the seasons go, and I really, really think, and again, the Alabama beating Georgia, will it happen? I don't know. No Brock Bowers, will he be ready? Blah, blah, blah. My point is, these teams like in Oklahoma, who's undefeated, can't take their foot off the gas because this year, the actual championships might mean something. So you go undefeated all year. It used to be go undefeated all year, losing your conference championship. It's okay, especially in the SEC. You're getting to the Final Four. I talked about on Sports Map Radio, I talked about it on a few of our shows, the Heisman Trophy watch, where Caleb, who was the winner last year, was the co-favorite, and then Penix Jr. is now the favorite. Well, after the loss Caleb had and the bad loss at Notre Dame last week, he's plus 3,000. Bo Nix went to plus 2,000. So my point is the quarterback here from Oklahoma, I think they're going to sheet until they get to most likely Texas in that final. You can get plus 700 on the Oklahoma quarterback right now for the Heisman. Anyone watching, go get some pizza and beer money on that. My point here is I think it's early. I think it's often. I think Oklahoma gets mid to high 40s. I think they might even put up 50 and change here. So my team total on Oklahoma, 42 and a hook. I think it flies over. That's my play in that game.
I like it, and I mean, I like that better because, I mean, UCF's offense has shown flashes of being competent, so they might put up a nice number here and maybe find a way to cover that spread. I don't know. But like you said, I mean, a 50-burger against Kansas last week and the 2 weeks before that, also not good at all. So it is a bad defense for sure there. And, Oklahoma's defense is no slouch either. So I like it. I do like it. I didn't have too much else on that noon slate. I've got a few in the afternoon there. Going back over to the Big Ten, Minnesota and Iowa. We've been seeing these Iowa numbers after the injury to McNamara. Not getting a ton of respect, even at home here. They had the 2.5-point favorite spread at home against Purdue. They managed to take care of business. Defense looks great. It was about 10-point underdogs at Wisconsin, went down to 8.5. They win that one outright. And now they're only 3.5-point favorites at home against a Minnesota team that just lost 52-10 at home against Michigan, lost Northwestern, got the doors beat off them by UNC, and it's only 3.5 here. Total, I mean, as far as you and I laugh about the paint drying game, the total at 30.5 for this gem in the Big Ten here. Not saying I've got to play on the under, but the mark, at least the numbers here for Iowa keep kind of saying at some point. I mean, look, they were a winning football team last year, but they had those performances where the defense is fine, but not really causing defensive turnovers, touchdowns on defense, and the offense is putrid, and they're losing a 13-10 game or something like that. I'm not necessarily saying that they're losing this game. But I think this one is close, and I'm interested in Minnesota hanging around and their defense being good enough to kind of slow down this I shouldn't say slow down this Iowa offense, but keep this Iowa offense looking like the Iowa offense that they've looked like, and maybe doing enough offensively, one or two nice plays, and keeping this one in that kind of, it could even be a 15-14 type game here in Minnesota covers. So I'm interested in Minnesota keeping this one close today, Jeff.
Well, don't forget, we always remember what we saw last, and you said the Gophers taken to the woodshed there last week. I will say this, like the Ohio State game, my true number was Iowa -6 with a 31.5, all juiced under, of course. Currently at circa right now, 3.5 with a 30.5. I think the lowest under over in a bazillion years. I can't remember when this one this low. If you had to run to the window and play this game, Riley, if you Venmo'd me $100 to play on this game, I'd Venmo you 200 back and say, take the bride out, go have some lunch and have a good time. I will honestly tell you, I won't see one snap of this. I got to trust and respect the true number, but Iowa has just not been there. And the Minnesota team, again, going in the wrong direction. So if I had a take on this, I mean, just look at the team totals, Riley. Minnesota team total 13.5, juiced under -125, and Iowa 16.5, juiced over -125. Listen, they're begging you to take the Iowa team total. They're telling you they're going to get to 17. I'd say not so fast. And that 13.5 juiced under, do they get to 14 or do they get stuck at 13? stuck on stupid, as we like to say, or 10 here. So I'll go on record. Iowa 14, Minnesota 13. How's that?
That's good with me. I think I said 15-14, Jeff. I obviously it's a nasty, disgusting game, but something's got to give here with this Iowa team here offensively, and maybe, a little stagnant defensively maybe. But let's see. There's some other decent ones here. I will have this one on. Maybe not front and center like I said with that Iowa-Wisconsin game last week, but I will have this one on the side here in my home here. So Oklahoma State, West Virginia here. Both 4-2. I think both these teams have kind of overachieved what their expectations have been here. This one is in West Virginia. West Virginia -3 right now. 48.5 is what I'm seeing there. Oklahoma last week, 39-32 win at home against Kansas. 29-21 win at home the week before that against Kansas State. A couple of losses before that at Iowa State and at home to South Alabama, ugly one there. And then obviously West Virginia had the wild one, I want to say last Thursday or something like that, Thursday or Friday at Houston, losing that one. Defensively at home, this West Virginia team has looked pretty damn good, though. Any thoughts on this one? I think, you've got an Oklahoma team that was, flying over 54 in their game last week. West Virginia flying over 49.5 against Houston last week. I'm thinking defenses stand up a little bit more and kind of show these offenses, kind of show the true colors of these offenses here a little bit today. What about you?
This Oklahoma State team Mullet, I just kind of started out slow and ugly and has kind of grabbed some traction, and the West Virginia team has shown flashes, and I think your eyes are spot on. My true number was West Virginia 3 with a 50. Now at circa 48.5 with a 2.5. So money trickling in on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State team total 23 and a hook, juiced under -130. And in one book, West Virginia 26.5, juice under -120. Another book 25.5. I usually, when I see those two numbers, I think West Virginia will be in that 24-23 range. And then when I see a 23.5 juiced under, will that be Okie State at 23? Will it be 21 or 20? I'm going to follow the circa lead here. Even though I like West Virginia at home, and I think that they can blow this out, usually when I see an overnight or early morning lead where circa is different than most of the other books, that means a bag or two has come in on a side. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State plus the 3, sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on Oklahoma State to win outright. And then if it came down to the total, I obviously like it under 50, but I would lean, as you said, to the under 48.5 or something like that.
Yep, I was interested in the under on that one, I don't hate what you're saying at all with Oklahoma State, because like that they have been looking a lot better after those couple of ugly performances there before these last two games that they've had there in or at home against Kansas. I don't remember where each of those games was necessarily, but I'm with you. I think I don't think one of these offenses isn't going to look very good today, and I'm with you. I think it could be this West Virginia team there. The other. Let's see. Before we get into the bigger one, Wisconsin and Illinois. You mentioned, you had Illinois surprising Maryland last week. That was a good call there. Only 3-point spread here today. One of the big reasons is Tanner Mordecai broke his hand. I imagine he's out of this game. I'm drawing a blank on who their backup quarterback is for Wisconsin off the top of my head right now. But that is what the situation is here. Illinois looked a lot better against Maryland offensively, 27 points there, 27-24. I don't have a play on this one. Was more just bringing it up here. Any thoughts that this one smells, or is this just fair with the quarterback change that's going on with Wisconsin here?
I wish a good morning to Mr. Russell Saylor and our good good friend and colleague, Ron, from last night on our closing bell. Russell says, Ron likes, and please apologize for my pronunciation here, Ethan Kalakamanis to throw a pick. That was Ron's prop of the day. So I hope I didn't butcher the Kalakamanis.
I think it's Kaliak.
That was
Kaliak Manis.
Kaliak Man. See, that's why you get paid the big bucks, Riley. Thank you.
No, I don't think that at all by any means there. Anyways, sorry. Let's see. We can move on past
Illinois,
go ahead,
Wisconsin. Illinois, Wisconsin. My true number was 3.5 with a 42.5, down to 3 and a 40.5. I'll go contrarian here, very short and sweet on this. I'll take the over. I'll trust and respect the 42.5. This Wisconsin team, kind of comical because Vegas has been very bullish on some high scores here. And obviously, when you look at Wisconsin and Illinois, you don't expect a lot of points to be scored here. And I just want to see where the team totals are for everyone watching and listening. Where was
I can get it for you. I think I see Wisconsin 21.5 and Illinois 19.5.
Okay. So yep, there it is right there. I get 21.5 juiced under minus 25 cents and 19.5 juice under. So Vegas is telling me a couple things here. Illinois will probably get to 17 or less. And again, everyone's looking at Wisconsin. Oh, Jesus, they're not. I mean, they're giving you the real big carrot here, Riley. 21.5 juice under. So you can get their team total at 21, 20, 17, yada, yada, yada. So if the play here would be Wisconsin team total over 21.5. To get, and you get that at plus 105 there. And as of last week, again, thank you on the Illinois, Maryland. I saw that in one of our earlier shows, and I'm like, wow, no disrespect to the Terps, but that number smelt the holy heaven. And again, did I expect Illinois to win? No, my question to you is, what's going on here? But I said I expected them to cover. I'm like, there's in no world they should be favored by that many points. I even talked about them on basketball. I was like, the Friday night special. You go against them at home, and they win by 40. You go with them on Sunday night, and they lose by 40. So I think Wisconsin team total over 21.5 plus 105 is the play there.
Yeah. No, and I'm still not sold on the Illinois performance as the best performance they had of the season. Still not totally sold on it. Obviously, if Wisconsin's quarterback situation is the reason Illinois is able to hang in, then that's great. But I'm with you as far as Wisconsin should take care of business still here, even on the road here. But you got the Brett Bielema revenge game, Brett Bielema revenge factor. That's the other little piece of that one there. So. That also could be why, maybe that's worth a half a point. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. What Illinois? Oh, yeah, Illinois went to Wisconsin last year and beat the pants off of them. That's right, 34-10. So Wisconsin's got that revenge factor on their side of things. So maybe a little bit of a wash there. But nonetheless, same time slot, the biggest game in this time slot, Tennessee, Alabama. Alabama now. I see a couple different spots. 8.5s. I see some 9s. I see some 9.5. So another one that's a little different all across the board there. I see some 47.5s for the most part on the total there. But obviously you've got two one-loss teams. You talk about we've talked about Alabama a lot as still having a legitimate shot of getting into this thing here. And I mean, you could technically say the same thing about Tennessee. I don't believe in them as much as I think you and I both do here. Obviously, you've been the front runner for this Alabama run here, and obviously Tennessee's still got to go through Georgia in the regular season on top of if they can get through this one today, if they want a legitimate chance here. So, but anyways, obviously going back to last year, you've got the Tennessee win at home in Tennessee, the 52-49 game there, and you've got Tennessee 3 games in a row. Only loss at Florida there, Bama. Only loss at Texas, putting some wins together now. Any thought that we're going to get a nice revenge game for Alabama here and they're going to roll? Total not as high as some of these other Tennessee games have been in the past few weeks, kind of right around where these Alabama games have been lately. 47.5 there, and I believe Alabama team total 28.5. Juice over in some spots, juice under in certain some other spots actually. So odds a little different there, and then Tennessee 18.5. Any thoughts that Alabama gets over that 28.5 there?
Yeah, it's funny because I watched that Alabama team specifically on Saturday, played a great first half against Arkansas, razor focused, no pun intended there. Sent out the second alert on DraftKings, go grab them plus $2,000. I'm going to say this, there were some 10.5s early, maybe Monday morning, where I know some sharps dove in and grabbed the Vols plus 10.5, plus 10. It trickled down all the way to 8.5, now back to 9. Let me see here at the circa as we speak, 9 with a 47.5. Looking at some team totals, Tennessee 19.5 juiced under minus 25 cents, and they're giving that Alabama 28.5 flat. You be the judge there. Just initially, Riley, I would say 27-17 will be your final here with Alabama, maybe 28-17. But here's the thing. You got to play 60 minutes. You can't just play 30 and say we're Alabama, because Arkansas dominated that second half and could have beat them late in that game here. I like the direction the quarterback's going in Alabama. Has shown some flashes. Now need to put together, 3-4 quarters in a row. Go through all your progressions. I saw him go through the first and second, then look to run. Just get more comfortable there. And the defense, this is not your Crimson Tide maroon of death where, you scored 13 points and liked it. They're not like that. You can move the ball on them. And here's the problem. LSU's coming into town, I think, in 2 weeks to Tuscaloosa. If they don't shore up the defense, never mind the offense, they don't have enough firepower to compete with LSU. And LSU will put up a 30-burger in Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks if things don't get, taken care of. I got 27-17, 28-17. I think Bama wins. I think they cover. I remember like it was yesterday that Vols in beating Alabama in Tennessee last year. And people won't remember this. Tennessee driving down 3, Alabama with a pick and took it all the way up to like the 40, and then the phantom flag after the play saying a hold. Jalen Hyatt 5 touchdowns that game. So Alabama not only was going to cover, had that game won until the phantom flag. So I like Roll Tide today.
Yep, I'm with you 100% of the way there, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I think people have forgotten about that now that it's gone, because that game was so awesome and fun to watch, and the atmosphere was awesome. So I think the Alabama faithful is going to be pretty riled up today. But you're right, it is 2 weeks away. It is Alabama's next game. They are off next week, and then they host LSU before Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn the last 3 weeks there. So, and then I think Tennessee has I think they've got they're at Kentucky next week, so nothing to sneeze at there for Tennessee next week. So let's we've got a couple more we can get through, and then obviously the games are starting up here. The other one was I think it's a night game there. Yeah, night game ACC Clemson and Miami. Clemson -3. Totals. I see a couple different totals here. 47 for the most part here. I see a 48.5, but I'm not sure if that's right there. 47, I think, is the consensus. Clemson -3. Miami, obviously, very close to being the dark horse team in the ACC to make a run at this thing. And then, obviously, the Georgia Tech debacle happens, and then they don't really show up defensively at all last week at UNC as short dogs there. And Clemson, the early loss and then the tough game probably should have taking care of business against Florida State. Don't win that one. Still 4-2. Bounce back nicely with defense these last couple of weeks. 31-14 and 17-12 these last couple of weeks. Total a bit lower for both these two teams as of late. Any thoughts on either the side on this one? I do feel like Clemson's defense could slow this pace down, and that's kind of why we're seeing this total down at 47 as opposed to in the 50s here.
My true numbers was 2.5 with a 49.5. Right now it's 3 minus 15 cents at Circa with a 47. Next move to 3.5. Talk to Ron about this at length. The loser of this game will now have 3 losses, and the season is officially over. Hats off to Dabo, who again got the 2 early losses, and then was able to rally the troops like he did a few years ago. You would think Miami after the back-to-back, the coaching mistake against Georgia Tech, and then Drake May just picking them apart last week, would be seething right here. You would think, Warren Sapp type defense flying around the ball there. I don't know what to expect here. Which team shows up, because the other one's going to be staring at 3 losses here. Good eyes, great take. This. I'll go on record here. First one to 24 wins this game. And I don't know which offense it's going to be. This is definitely going to be a popcorn game for me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't convince myself either way on the sides. I am more, like you said, under is the play that I've got in this one, so that's what I'm expecting there. But I every time I start to lean one way or the other, I go back the other way on the sides in that one. I guess I will lean towards Clemson winning the game. But again, like you said, Miami should be seething to show up in this game and have a great performance. So I'm not putting anything on either side on this one here. Going over to the Pac-12, USC coming off of that loss. That's their only loss, obviously. Utah 5-1, a nice bounce back after an ugly offensive performance at Oregon State. As far as this matchup is concerned, Utah has been the victor in the last 3. I think it was 2 games last year. The awesome game at Utah in the regular season, and then the Pac-12 championship, 47-24 there, and even 2021, 42-26. So Utah's offense has showed up in this game. Yet we've got a 6.5-point spread now. I believe it was 7. I think it's still 7 in a lot of spots. 6.5 in some other spots as well there. Thoughts that this one is kind of a statement here for USC, or is this a little, just a mind games here, and Utah's got a better chance than these numbers are alluding to here?
Again, when you lay an egg as big as USC did last week, there's trouble in paradise. We have talked about their pathetic defense all along. And now in comes a Utah team. It's almost like the perfect storm, because Utah can't score. They can play defense, but they can't score. Right. My true numbers here, Riley, was a 5 with a 56. Currently at Circa, it's 51.5 with a 6.5. There are some 7s at Caesars, New Jersey, at Bet Online here. So I know the sharps, if you got a 7, would be buying the hook to get it to 7.5. It will take 8 or 10 to beat you there. I'm looking at the team totals. Of course, when we bring the mental aspect in here, Riley, we expect a big bounce back from USC. I mean, they get prime time, but you just can't throw this Utah defense to the wolves here. I'm looking at some team totals. 21.5 juice under. Minus 120 on Utah, and they give you the 29.5 against for USC. A lot of points to be scored against the Utah defense. Contrarian me would say Utah team total over 21.5 at even money. I think they're begging you to take USC team total, because you say, well, geez, I know Caleb's going to bounce back. I know they can get to 30, 31 or whatever. So my play on this will be very simply Utah team total over 21.5 plus 105.
I like it, and I think this one could be really good. I'm going to leave this one on the table. I'm never this Utah team is anytime you go against them, that's when they show up and smack you in the mouth, and you're pissed off that these Utes held you to 14 points, 17 points, whatever it is. So I think this one could be a really, really good game, really fun game to watch here, and it's becoming this matchup has been really fun to watch. So All right, we're about noon your time, 11 o'clock my time. Any of these other games to talk about before we get out of here, my friend?
Nothing that jumped out off of me. I mean, I'm getting commercials every which way. Apologies if that was in your ear there. Just going to quickly span the globe. A big game from my Cornhuskers against a hapless Northwestern team, obviously. I think the 7 o'clock Mississippi Auburn game intrigues me. Auburn team total 24 under -120. Mississippi 31 and a hook juiced under -130. So if you like Mississippi in the spot, you can grab some plus points for them to get to 32 or higher there. What else? UCLA, Stanford, no. Arizona, Washington against Arizona State. Look for potential letdown. Okay, here we go. Oregon, Washington State. Look for a bounce back from obviously Oregon, Bo Nix and company. Not giving me the number that I was looking for on the team total there. Big slate of hockey tonight, of course, and all day. ECSI VIPs, you'll be getting potentially 2 and 3 alerts today. We're just going to get stuck in our office here and have some fun here. Closing thoughts, Riley.
Closing thoughts, nothing too crazy. As you say, don't go too above your ski, or don't go get yourself into trouble here, and stay within your means, obviously, because I imagine anyone who's loading up on action today is probably loading up on action tomorrow, or at least tiptoeing into tomorrow's action. So stay true to yourself. Let's have some fun. Don't get crazy with some of these big games, and obviously you got to live to fight another day there. Not only football, obviously, we've got UFC as well. So don't go too overzealous there, and before you know it, on top of football and hockey and whatnot, we'll be throwing basketball into the ring here too. So. Nothing too crazy. We had a great show, great hour here Saturday morning. I am very excited to get going into some sports, watching the rest of the day here.
Mr. Russell Saylor, thank you for watching. He goes, great advice, Riley. And as always, it is great advice from you. To Saturday, college football, Saturday, college basketball soon. There's 150 games between full games, team totals, under overs, then there's first quarter, first half. My point is, if you woke up this morning with a melon because you're hungover, you got smoked last night by the books, you didn't pay the rent, you didn't pay the cell phone bill, and now you're up here trying to chase, you might as well just tap out now and just pay the fiddler, because once you start chasing, it becomes quicksand Saturday, never mind quicksand Sunday, that ECI has coined a long time ago. So stay away from the big time games because the numbers are so sharp. I like to explain it this way. It goes for college football and college and NFL. Go to your local landfill Monday morning at 8 a.m. Drop a 20-pound turkey and leave it there, fully cooked. Come back right now at 12 a.m. before kickoff, or come back tomorrow at 12:45 before kickoff. You're going to see nothing but a carcass. There's nothing but skin and bones, okay? My point is, that's the numbers that you're going to attack right now. These numbers are released late Sunday, early Monday morning. They've been picked apart a bazillion times. Now, if you get to the smaller teams, the smaller markets, the team totals and stuff, you have opportunities less sharp. But when you're going into an Ohio State, Penn State, where the circus got 10 million on Ohio State, 10 million on Penn State, they don't care who wins because at the end of the day, they made $1 million in juice. So just stay sharp, stay in your lanes, and have some fun. That's all.
Can't complain.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. Again, shout out to Mr. Saylor. Thank you so much. Shout out to Ron. Let's all have a great weekend. We will catch up to you next week. Stay tuned.